What's up, everybody? You know what it is. It's Monday. It's the night before Acolyte, and I think it's time to talk about it. We didn't talk about it last week. I don't know what happened, but yeah, we need to clarify some things. We need to look at some stuff. There's a whole bunch going on, and yeah, it's Monday, so why not get into it? Why not have some fun with it? And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, could this be the end? Come on. Could this be the end? Could this be the beginning? What are we getting into? I mean, I don't really think we know what's coming, right? So the last two episodes were interesting. The last episode we got to see more of that background fight, more of the stuff that we were wishing we had seen involving our Wookiee Jedi. We got to actually see that action, so that's fantastic. But ultimately, a lot of people were let down. There was some interesting stuff going on. Let's be honest. There was a lot going on. So yeah, I think there's a little bit to talk about. There's definitely been some negativity going on, but I really didn't hear too much about this episode other than the usual, Leslie sucks and Kathleen's to blame, or who's to blame. All the usual suspects are out and about. But what what were we really privy to in this episode? It was actually really interesting, a lot of fun. We get to see more of that breaking point and why we got to this point, and it was not what anybody thought. I think there was a lot more to it than we had anticipated, and now we understand more about these Jedi characters that took a vow of repentance, basically. And we see more of that. I kind of, I'll go through a couple of things that I noticed, but there's some interesting perspective in here, right? Um, from the Mad Claw, the if you followed any of the old games, we get into, specifically KOTOR gives us a couple of lessons about Wookiees and the way that they view using their paws and claws in combat, and how that is they actually have a term for those Wookiees, and it includes banishment, which is what our friend Kalnaka does in this time, being the Wookiee Jedi. So there's a lot going on in that regard. Let's get into the chat and say hey to everybody. So Brandon thinks that the series is just awful. Okay, that's pretty good. Oh, you humble me, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm hoping for something incredible in the finale, but I really can't hold my breath. Still hoping. Yeah. I agree. Okay. Um, let's see. Hoping for an extended length finale. I don't see how they can't extend that finale a little bit. Um, I don't really, let's turn that we go. I don't really see how they cannot give us a slightly extended finale. I think there's a lot to explain. So, yeah, I think that's a big part of it, in my opinion, is that there's a lot to explain. So hopefully there is another one. Brandon, I will personally not greenlit a season 2. Unfortunately, the writing directing is awful. Okay. I can see that perspective. What up, Maximos? But again, I'm not a writer. I'm not a award-winning author or writer or screenplay writer or anything like that. So I can't really say what is or is not bad writing. I can only tell you that in the in all of the acting in all of Star Wars, if this is the worst, uh If this is the worst, then okay, but I don't think it is. I think there's some pretty awful dialogue in a lot of Star Wars, and I don't think this is the worst. Yeah, that's where I'm at with this. The If the finale gets a solid hour, not including recaps and credits, I think it has a chance. Like I said, we'll see where we end up with this episode, but at the same time, I remain in the same place that I always have, and I will restrict my viewing. I will restrict my review till the very last frame, including whatever extended scenes or any of that stuff at the end. I'm cool if you give me a season 2. I'm down for a season 2. I think it would be fitting not to cut the story short just because, the scoring was not as high as they would have hoped, right? It's I feel like, again, summer shows from pretty much any streaming service get a bad rap just because a lot of people aren't sitting at home, on a Monday or Tuesday night. um I don't know, maybe they are. Maybe I'm just being hopeful. But yeah, so far I've enjoyed the show. We'll see what the finale brings and see if they can bring it home with a good ending, and give us a bite for season 2, because that's ultimately the wrapping up whatever we have going on. Now that we know the backstories of everybody, now that we know pretty much where everybody is, we know all of that stuff. But yeah, that's just how I feel. I'm not the best judge of dialogue. I grew up and still play with original Resident Evil. Worst style. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying they're winning, they're winning any awards for their writing or dialogue, but again, it's Star Wars. It's Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars has never had the best dialogue. Star Wars has just never had the best dialogue in writing. I mean, it is what it is. I call a spade a spade. I mean, it's fun. I'm not sitting here dissecting it in this petri dish with this microscope, this ultra electron microscope that's dissecting Star Wars. That's not really what I'm doing, right? What I'm doing is more of um the broader Star Wars. I mean, what did people not like about Andor? Let's compare the two. What did people not like about Andor? Okay, Andor didn't have lightsabers except for the one lightsaber wing weapon that we see in one scene of the whole show. They talk about kyber crystals, but we don't see them use them in lightsaber weaponry, right? Okay. So the complaint about that was there were no lightsabers and pew pews, right? And then you get a show like Acolyte, and it is a show, and that has amazing dialogue. It's written by two guys that have had a decade or more time to have built great dialogue with the Bourne series. So I expect the writing for that to be better, just because the Gilroy brothers have put a lot into writing together and taking on the writing portion of those movies. Um, but again, Andor, let's see, Brandon mentions Andor Rogue One has the best writing and dialogue. I can't wait. Okay, but you are the odd man out in this statement, right? Because a lot of people can't stand Andor, right? So I understand where you're coming from with I like it all. I am not biased, but when you compare Andor and Acolyte, again, I've said this many times, the Gilroys are very good at writing a mystery style show where the character is on the run, right? Where we go to prisons and we get a breakout and all that stuff. Those guys are really good at that. And that's what Andor was about. Then you go to this show where these writers, some of have never seen Star Wars or whatever, or just watched it for the first time. So there's a huge difference. You're comparing apples to oranges, right? You're comparing apples to a Ferrari, right? It does, just because both things are red doesn't mean they're the same, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, I to be honest, look, things I like about the Acolyte. Number one, I like that we are out of a Star Walker. Scott, okay. Number one, and I don't know, I'm not even going to know how many numbers. I'm just going to go in order. Number one, the thing I like the most about the Acolyte is we are outside of the Skywalker saga. There is not a Skywalker name to be heard within 100 years, and I am down for that, right? Number one, they did exactly what Star Wars fans were asking for. And the number one thing Star Wars fans were asking for was get us out of the Skywalker timeline, give us something new. Instead of going forward, they went backwards. And I like that very much. Okay. So, number one, that's the thing I like the most. Let's see. Let's just finish the chat before I go into number two. If I'm correct, the timeline, yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's number one, right? We're outside of the Skywalker timeline. Number two, I like that I like that it's entirely new characters, right? Yes, we've seen Ki-Adi-Mundi. Yes, we know Yoda's out there doing council stuff. He's out there somewhere. There could be a couple of other old time characters that we may see that may just pass through, but for the most part, we are seeing completely new characters, right? Ki-Adi-Mundi again had what, 3 lines in the whole show so far. So I'm interested in that. Again, it goes along with this new timeline, new characters, new stuff, new. I like the new, right? Because I'm tired of talking about the old, right? Now we're in the new. Let's see, what else do we have that I really like? Honestly, I love the lightsaber choreography, the stuff with Jackie and the dual lightsaber stuff, all of that. I really enjoyed the choreography that went into this, and then seeing the behind the scenes and watching these actors dedicate hours on end to these scenes, to me, is fantastic, right? The fight scenes have been amazing, lightsaber battles have been rad. I am digging this style. Now, again, I am not dissecting. I am not one of these people that are going frame by frame and telling the audience what a swordsman would do. All I know is it looked cool. It was fun. The using of the force is, we'll call that number 4 or letter D, kind of goes in conjunction with that. But to the lightsaber stuff, I really like the lightsaber kebab. I really like the dual yielding, splitting, like the Cal Kestis lightsabers in the Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order series. They're pulling a lot of stuff from that. I like the mystery of this show, right? You don't know nothing, right? And if you say you know something, you're lying, right? Because nobody knows where we're going and who's who and what's what. It's all a guessing game. And I love that, because everybody gets to eat a little bit of humble pie now and again with who's this and who's that, and what storyline. And that's the stuff I enjoy, rather than just defecating on what they're doing here. I am enjoying the show and trying to figure out the mystery, right? And that is fun for me. It's not the typical, like, oh, shouldn't this fit in? I'm not trying to fit puzzle pieces until this whole show is over. And then I'll try to put puzzle pieces into where it should dissect into this. But really, I'm just enjoying the show. The twins, again, I feel like we could have the twin story. Star Wars likes a story about twins. Um, I think there's a fun twist coming up. I'm enjoying everywhere we're at. I'm enjoying I'm enjoying the throwbacks, man. The throwbacks are killer, dude. All of this old KOTOR stuff, all of this old school, you know, deception from the Jedi. Like I dig it all, man. I dig it all. The Jedi have always been on the side of right and virtue with a little bit of shade in there that they hide from everybody, right? Um, and this goes back to some of the older storytellers with the KOTOR series and the story of Revan and how they lied to him and erased his mind and yada yada yada. Like there's so much of this hypocrisy, this bureaucracy hypocrisy, if you want to stay with me for a minute. In that regard, not telling the High Council this, keeping this secret here, Anakin on secret missions, all of this stuff to me has just always been a little shady. So yeah, so for me, there's so much to like. And if you're going to sit there and slow down frame by frame and say what a shit fight scene that was and how you could have made it better, then I invite you to come where I am. Let's break down the choreography in a fight scene. Let's get a couple of actors that are and do some of the stuff I want to do. And I have all the film equipment. I mean, look, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4, I mean, there's stuff everywhere. I'll pay for the camera crew and we'll do a bunch of stuff and come out and show me a legit choreography fight scene if that's your thing. Because I got some stories we could tell, right? I'm still fishing for Samuel L. Jackson and Ewan McGregor to come and fish me out my story. As soon as my illustrator gets done doing our comic strip, I'm going to be sending those out to those guys, fan clubs and stuff, or find them at cons and give it to him and break it down with a script. But ultimately, look, man, the thing that I like about Star Wars is that the real world can really suck. And so this is a good space for me to go and enjoy what they give me. And sometimes it's not great, right? Sometimes you get, some Book of Boba Fett, which had some great stuff, but ultimately was not as great. Could be saved in with a season 2 that I have a great idea for that too. Reach out, Tem. But ultimately, I think this show is a lot better than people are giving credit for. I think people that want to defecate on Star Wars just enjoying this because it's another opportunity with the showrunner and with Kathleen Kennedy and all of this wokeness that's attributed to this show that I don't catch. So there's a lot of stuff bundled in here for everybody, right? The click haters and baiters get their clicks. I get a fun show to watch and enjoy and have a good time with. And the muggles get a fun show to ask me about when I see them in the world, right? So it's in my opinion, it's been really great. And I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I hope everybody else has taken the time that I have to sit back and enjoy the show for what it is, and know that we are not done. And I hope that they do get picked up for a season 2 because a season 2 would be a lot of fun. A season 2 could take us into some, potentially Plagueis era storytelling where they retcon the Plagueis novel. That would be a lot of fun. There's so much of this opportunity out there to do something fun and new, and that's what I really enjoy is get us into some new, right? I'm not a big fan of the way that they dissected the Ahsoka story. I think they could have taken some of the E.K. Johnson Ahsoka book and adapted that a little better in the tales, but ultimately, to me, they did a good job in the, if you want to call it retcon, or in the reissuing of information in the Ahsoka in Tales of the Jedi. But for this show, I'm really enjoying Soul. I'm really enjoying the story, and the hypocrisy bureaucracy that's going on here is pretty fun because it's more of that hiding stuff from the Senate. Oh, we tell the High Council, then the Senate will know. And then you have a Senate audit coming in. You got 6 to 10 dead Jedi, and then you got the nerd at the 911 call center that got the message that's like, oh, Master Soul did all this. And so they have a scapegoat. So it wasn't really a Sith, it was Master Soul. There's so much in here that's fun. That's my simple take on it for a quick 10-minute rant. All right, let's get back into the chat for a minute. Okay, let's see. Dark Maximus came in. Okay, Matt Cave. I love the lightsaber fights. I'm not really sure why it got so much hate. Again, I don't know, my friend. I don't know why it got so much hate, but it did. Got a lot of hate. When the kebab happened, I pointed at Leo in the meme and yelled, "Cal Kestis, LOL." My wife looked at me like I was crazy. Cortosis was a great insertion. I agree. I like what like about Star Wars is the NC-17 level nudity. They didn't even show his butt. Come on, if they'd have showed his ass, then it'd have been like, oh my god. And I mean, like,
oh my god, they showed his butt. Oh my god, look at what we're doing. It's a sick in the city.
Get over it. Let's see. To me, Osha and May are the weakest characters that I care the least about. Soul and Chimere are more interesting to me. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Dark, Darth Teeth is I'm digging him, right? I'm digging his style, right? And we're gonna go back and watch some stuff. Unfortunately, we didn't see a single frame of him in this episode. This was all background for Osha and May. I was kind of hoping that we were going to get a little bit of that in this episode, but they covered that whole thing in one episode, so we don't have to touch that. Now it's more of the question is who see, and this is it. The finale, there's no like we've seen all the scenes from all the trailers, right? So everything has been seen that's been seen. So now in this however long finale, we're going to get to see potentially is the last thing we're going to get to see the reveal of who his Jedi master used to be or who his Sith master is now, right? Or does he have a master and he's just been getting darker and darker all by himself this whole time since he left the order? There is a lot to dissect out there. Let's get back in the chat. Let's see. We need so much more from Darth Smilo in the finale. He's awesome. I agree. It's kind of funny how people were going nuts over Chimere when HBO showed a whole, yeah. I mean, basically, yeah. I mean, a whole see, yeah, there was a lot going on in the Hot D this week. Not the best. They didn't have their best episode this week either. I feel like both of these shows had their weakest. I feel like this wasn't the weakest episode for Acolyte, but it was definitely not it wasn't the follow-up to the most exciting episode of the show. Whereas Hot D, I felt like this was a lot of political bullshit, and I didn't see a single dragon in this episode other than in the background. So I was a little disappointed in the Hot D this week. And Acolyte, even though there were good fight scenes and we got to see the Wookiee go mad, even though I want to get into that a little bit. I was reading online and seeing a bunch of people that were like,
oh my god, Kanaka went mad claw, and he totally went crazy and used his claws and cut up little dude's face.
And I would like to say, I would like to say I kind of don't agree with that, right? I didn't see him use his claws. Now I saw him use his mitts to like pin him to the ground and like choke him out and all that fun stuff, but I didn't see him like, ha. And that's, if I remember the game correctly, that's what it was. Like, okay, I guess hand-to-hand combat is like, okay, fine. I thought they only liked using weapons, but I think it's when you like break out your claws that's when you went mad claw. And so I kind of wasn't sure if it was a true mad claw situation. I think it was more of the fact that he was the cause of death for these witches, and he hurt a fellow Jedi and he fought his fellow Jedi. I think that's more of why he took the Barash vow, not so much that he clawed little dude's face and went mad claw and had to banish himself. Again, I don't. That's just kind of how I read the mad claw description and how I kind of see Kalnaka taking the Barash vow because of what happened, not so much because he used his mitts. So, yeah, that's apparently I'm missing not having watched Hot D. It was a good episode, just wasn't. Again, I feel like a lot of politicking in my opinion. Let's see. Brandon says Leslie said that this series is a Sith center story, and the Sith infiltrate the Jedi Order, and this series is none of that. Unfortunately, look, I am again, I don't listen to director interviews, my guy. If you've been following the channel for any duration, or even if you haven't followed the channel for any duration, I'm gonna break something down real quick. I I kind of want to go. I kind of want to go here for this, right? Like, oh man, I gotta focus that guy. Here, let's focus. Let's go. Ooh, okay, look, I'm gonna get close here for you. I don't believe in any writer, director, producer saying anything about a show until it's done. It's ridiculous, and I don't like it. And I think it's dumb, and I think they should shut the fuck up because we deserve better. So that's just, that's just how I figure. I got to look at it. But yeah, look, I don't like people like Robert Rodriguez coming out and saying, well, it's all killer, no filler, bro. This show's going to be all killer, no filler. And that show was all filler, no killer, right? Then you got Leslie, and she talks whatever bantha fodder she talks because she can't stop talking, right? And the reason, look, you guys, I get it. The reason Leslie cannot stop talking about this show to the media and the press is because this is her moment, dude. This is it. This is probably the pinnacle of how successful she will ever be in her entire career, right? Not to knock her, not to say she's an awful director, not to say she's a whatever. I'm just saying, for some people, Star Wars is the pinnacle of where they will get in all of television and movies, right? So she is out there fluttering her ridiculous statements all over social media and all in these interviews because this could be it. This could be the biggest thing she ever does. So again, I give her a wide berth with all the nonsense that she speaks because I don't pay attention to those interviews anyway, because I think that these people should not be talking until the series is over and then illustrate your response to the fans instead of I have seen more channels covering more interviews that she is doing, Leslie is doing during the show run than I've ever seen a director, showrunner talk about a show during the show's airing and then attacking the people attacking them, right? Like, that's just not, yeah, I get it. You're probably getting more coverage and more eyes on the show and whatever, but you're just feeding so much bantha fodder. It's just not a good idea. Again, let's see. Yeah, it looked like him from getting smashed in the face into the wall. Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like that was more of his, justification for Toby. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's his. I mean, look, okay. So Tobin is absolutely responsible for the entire thing, right? The death of all of the witches in the coven. Now, granted, the fire was not his fault. So the place burning down, that's absolutely the witches, like the Corin and May, that's all on them, right? But ultimately, the entire coven dying, the entire the battle in the courtyard with Kalnaka, the death of all of them after Master Trinity shows up, all of that is Tobin's fault. He got on the speeder and tried to find an easy way home. He wanted to get home so badly, and he was so impatient that he cost dozens of lives. That's why he meditated. That's why he took the poison, because he was responsible for everything. He may not have killed anybody himself, but he was ultimately responsible because he started the whole thing. Yeah, I'm interested also how they sum up this whole episode. I think there's a lot to, whatever. So let's see. If he actually made the show like The Godfather meets Star Wars, yeah. Again, there's a lot of Homestead. Yeah, we went through that. Keep Except James Gunn. Okay. I stopped paying attention to any interviews, articles since Andor. Yeah, most of it has nothing to do with the shows. Most of it is all their political agenda. Most of it is them talking bantha fodder and trying to get their shows hyped up so they can get more jobs with bigger companies. I think it backfired with Robbie Rod. I think it backfires with Leslie Headland. I think there's opportunities for new directors that they should be using instead of these popular people that Kathleen Kennedy seems to like for some reason. Do we think trilogy killed the covenant or simply so? Look, I you know number one, was Corin in his brain, or did she just like disappear and run away? Number two, um did all these witches die because of like a thought bomb kind of thing? Was this like I hadn't heard anybody talk about this recently, and I was kind of thinking, well, that's an interesting way for them to illustrate how she killed the entire coven with one thought, right? Breaking the connection or whatever. So it was like, was that like a thought bomb? Was that like a little pearl that we missed? Was that something um that we didn't really take enough credit in? Is this the old school rope a dope where Master Trinity is going to really be the old master to our Darth Smiley, and that's the reason she died first? Or did she not really die, and is this all a game, and she's really the dark lord, or the Jedi infiltrator, and she used a thought bomb to kill all people connected to Kalnaka? Very interested to see. I think that's a little bit of a reach, but yeah, I agree. He's Darth Smiley is the best part of the show. They were on the planet for 7 weeks. Metal detector jokes aside, they had all their scanners on the Jedi cruiser. They couldn't see a giant witch castle in the mountains. Yeah, okay, fair enough. You don't say that.
You don't say that, Betamax. You don't say that, okay? That's not cool, bro.
Yeah, look, I think that's still a thing. I mean, how do we put this? I don't think that. Yeah, that's a stupid ass way to go about that. Yep. They died by the power of Mendy explains. Power of Mendy. Yeah, so I think there's good and bad with all shows. Not every show is particularly perfect. Um, we've got a lot of a lot of not greatness going on across Star Wars at random times, but ultimately so far, um, I don't really see anything that really messes anything up for me. I could see how they might be trying to put this on Soul and calling this, a broken, a broken Jedi, or a Jedi went rogue, not necessarily a Sith, and then hide this until next season where we might get more and flash forward a few years. I don't really know. And that's the thing I like about this show also, is I don't know where we're going. I don't know what they're doing. They're running their own ponies right now, and I'm just along for the ride. So I'm just enjoying what I can when I can. This is an 8-week show. I've had a lot of fun with it. I've tried to do these Monday streams as much as possible, but ultimately this has been a lot of fun. The witches are a resemblance to me to the Dathomirans, only they have a different view of the Force. It just seems like this is, as everybody's illustration in their thumbnails is like,
The Jedi are bad. The show shows the Jedi's are bad, and then the Jedi's are bad. Okay, just bad Jedi's.
but ultimately it just continues that same theme that I feel like has gone through all of Star Wars, and that's that the Jedi are in charge. In their eyes, they're policing the Force, right? And I think they mentioned this in this is going to kill your whole kind over time. Uh, and there's some fun prophesizing there, but ultimately, their hubris is what kills them. Their in unwillingness to see what's really out there and listen to the people that are around them. And so this may be another illustration of that. When they catch up with Soul, are they going to believe him? Right. So it's interesting where we're going to go from here. I mean, but Yoda's there on the High Council, so he doesn't even know about what's going on right now. I hope that there is no cliffhanger. Wrap up the ending. I mean, there's going to be a cliffhanger of some kind, right? I mean, you can't. What have they done in every single, Mando series, right? The baby gets taken, right? That's season 1 ending. Season 2 ending is Luke Skywalker's alive and he came to save the baby. Season 3, I don't want to talk about it. Okay.
I want to talk about it. I want to talk
about it. And then you get to Andor, cliffhangers, lots of stuff going on. So there's a lot going on in there, yeah, I mean, look, there's going to be a season 2, right? This isn't a one and done. Like, they said Ahsoka was supposed to be a limited series. They say these are all supposed to be a limited series until they get the right script and the actors are on board and they're like,
yeah, let's do that shit. Go Ewan! Go Hayden! Let's do it!
Right? Like that's how they are. So if tomorrow, my script gets in the hands of Samuel L. Jackson and Ewan McGregor, and they're like, this is awesome, and they take it up the chain of command, there could be a Kenobi season 2, right? There's already an Ahsoka season 2 that was supposed to be a one and done. Now there's a season 2. So ultimately, they say limited. I mean, shit, I could get a Boba Fett season 2. Tem would love my Boba Fett season 2 treatment, right? But I don't know if it fits into the Dave Filoni where they're at in the Dave Filoni verse. So I just don't know. By the way, if you didn't know, this is now Man Mug Mondays, and we're going to do a segment about Man Mug Mondays because this is like, look at this man mug. This thing's huge. But yeah, look, there's a lot of things I really enjoy about these episodes, and I'm really looking forward to the finale. There's so much unanswered stuff. What do they tell the council? How do they get around all these dead people? Are they going to catch up with Soul? Is this a rope a dope? Was May always supposed to be the light one and Osha was always the dark one? I mean, there's a lot of mystery and stuff still going on in these episodes. But I gotta say, man, I mean, I agree with the chat. I think that the Darth Teeth is my favorite part of this entire show so far, and I hope that they finish with more of his story and less of this stuff. Yeah, this thing is huge. This thing is huge. I honestly have not filled it to the top yet because it's so big. I honestly I'm afraid to fill it to the top because it'll be so heavy. It's like, but maybe. But yeah, there's a lot going on in this show. And again, there's a lot of negative. There's a lot of negative hate. There's a lot of there's a lot of, I mean, there's 4,000 tweets right now saying renew the Acolyte with the hashtag renew the Acolyte. There's a lot of, a lot of people don't want to admit, the Raylo thing that's out there right now. I mean, I don't think these two are going to have this intimate, lovers thing going on like Anakin and Padme. I think this is going to be more of a, newfound respect for one another and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think, I think this is a must in my opinion, Brandon. I totally agree with you. I think it's not just a wish. I think it's a must. I think we must have some of Darth Smiley's backstory. If we don't, they're doing a huge disservice to the show. That's like the biggest elephant in the room and not even addressing it, right? Like that would be the biggest mistake. We need to know who his master was before even if that's the last thing we see, right? Is the master whipping him, right? Whether it's a lightsaber, I think it would be even more cool if it was like a Zargarian whip, the kind the slavers used, and it wasn't a lightsaber whip. I think that would be even cooler. Or if she had like a power setting to, decrease the intensity to, break skin but not maim. But ultimately, I think there's a lot of opportunity in here to do a Darth Smiley backstory, especially if you give it the full hour plus, right? You give us an hour and 15 on a finale, give us 10 to 15 hard minutes of Smiley getting tortured as a Jedi youngling, or right after, or and then at the last frame of the show, show us who the Darth Master is that's in the Jedi temple, right? Like, give us some of that, and then let us speculate, because then we're going to speculate for like a year until season 2 is ready. So I think don't keep it hidden, or at least give us the clues. That way we can be like, and then we can Blues Clues that shit, right? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in this final episode. I'm curious what the runtime is going to be. I'm curious what they're going to cover. Obviously, they're going to catch up with one another. Are they headed back to Coruscant? I mean, I know in the backstory they were headed to Coruscant. Where's Soul headed with May now in tow? Is she going to get, back to the council, given back to the council, and here's what we know, and then they don't find Osha and Smiley, and that leads to the next season? Or is this like a Palpatine thing where he knows where Smiley is and shows up at the last frame of the season going, what the fuck is this? Who is this? Or why do you have her? You ordered to kill her or something? I don't know. It's so crazy. As tossed out by the Sith, not a Jedi, but he said he was a Jedi. He said he was a Jedi already. So Scotty says, Scotty, I don't really want Smiley to be an old Padawan. She should be in hiding even still, so their lineage hopefully stems away from the Jedi Order, the Old Republic, but who knows how they do it. Well, but we also know that the Sith enjoy taking on students that are fallen Jedi rather than training younglings, right? So we know that is a big part of the Sith. They don't like the poopy diaper phase. They don't want to teach you the basics, right? They want to take all the stuff you've learned and then corrupt you and show you the dark forces, right? They don't want to train the basics and stuff. They don't want to sit there and do that shit. Like the fact that Dooku trained Savage at all was an oddity. Like that was I need somebody now. Give me somebody that I can like teach the Force quickly with your magic. Night Sister did that magic on a weakling. Boom, you got this big muscle guy. And then Dooku teaches him the Force in like 15 seconds, but it's not okay for Ahsoka to teach Sabine how to be a Jedi over 10 years. But I digress. So ultimately, look, this goes to that whole story of like, I think that's why the Sith prefer to take fallen Jedi and corrupt Jedi, just because they already have a huge foundation. They already know how to use and manipulate the Force. Now it's about drawing out that negativity to use as power, opposed to feeling the Force in other ways, right? Matt Cave says, the thing I like about Darth Smiley-o is that he doesn't want to be a Jedi or a Sith. He just wants freedom to live. I just want to do what I want. I just want to do what I want. That's all he's saying. I agree with you. So yeah, I mean, look, I think it's ultimately, this good opportunity to do some good storytelling. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens with this, because again, we could speculate all day. Thankfully, this is coming out 24 hours from now. Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely in the middle, right? He's like, I don't want to be you. I don't want to be me. I just want somebody to hang out with, man. I'm just so tired of being
by myself. I just want somebody to hang out. Well, let's get his voice.
I just want somebody to hang out with. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrows.
yeah. Look, he just wants a friend, man. That's all. He just wants a friend. He just wants somebody to hang out with, do some Sith, dark side stuff, maybe go kill some people. Like that's all. He just wants a homie to hang out with. He's tired of rolling by himself. So that's all I get it. Everybody can appreciate. Nobody wants to be lonely, but yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot going on. There's two or three different things going on, which is typical Star Wars. But I mean, yeah, well, and see, this is something that Scotty's been into. They played the Knights of Ren theme when when he covered Osha in the blanket. So, I mean, this is something that Scotty's been on this train for a while. Could these two be the first two Knights of Ren? And then, be hiding in the background over a century, so on and so forth. Scotty's kind of been down that road a little bit. I don't know enough about the Knights of Ren to make that assumption, but I guess we'll find out here in this series eventually. Let's see. Mafia says, how often do you think Star Wars? I sing with the voice changer all the time. If I can find the right songs, bro, forget it, bro. Forget it. And like if you can do with just these two voices, right? With
these two voices.
You can do the entire soundtrack to Beauty and the Beast. I'm just saying. Yeah, the Kylo theme was there, not the Knights of Ren. Again, a lot of people were thinking that's more of the Reylos. And if you're a Reylo, I don't think the Reylo thing is going to be a real. I don't think these two are going to fall in love and have kissing sequences like Rey and Kylo. I think this is more of a. With Osha. With Osha, I think the thing has always been about breaking her chains, right? And the fact that he cites some of the Sith code, if not all of the Sith code, breaking your chains is a big part of that. And I think that's what's really holding Osha back is accessing the Force, right? Letting go of things that she feels guilty about or this, that, and the other. But ultimately, I think that her using the dark side is going to make her more powerful just because she's had her chains broken and she's free to use the Force as she sees fit. Whereas I don't know if May's got restrictions that she puts upon herself. It doesn't seem like it. She's just killing motherfuckers or watching motherfuckers kill themselves. But I don't know really where this is going. I'm really interested to see where we are at the end of the day tomorrow. You know, there's so much room for stuff. I'm just God. I was really hoping, I don't know about you guys, but I was also really hoping we were going to see Hugh Yang. I thought it was going to be awesome to just see Hugh Yang like leading a little bunch of younglings to the ship to go do their, their gathering. But I guess that was too much to hope for. Oh, it's too hot. Frozen AC. Oh my God. Go out and check to see if the fan is blowing. If the fan's not blowing, you should replace that fan like tonight. Seducing rather than manipulation to the dark side. Yeah. No, Mafia says at some point, Smiley will fall face first into the dirt and a ton of dust will fly up. And if you pause at the right time, it forms. Wrong. You're wrong. Nope. Epic fail. Yeah, I mean, what else? Yeah, I mean, like we can let's try and see if there's anything in the episode we can fast forward through that we didn't like. Because I mean, ultimately, no, we don't want to see that. We should probably mute that anyways. Let's see. Home on Acolyte. Let's see. Choices. So the backstory, of okay. So let's talk about the word that is bothering everybody in this show right now. 85. Who's 85? Oh, it's 85 in the house right now. Oh, 85 is not too bad. Could be like 95 or 100. Then it'd be like, ooh, that's hot. I've been there, done that. Oh, it's just not him. Yeah, it's hot. It's hot outside. It's hot here too. Yeah, I think that looked exactly the same. It was exactly the same whip that we saw before. Okay, so there's a word I want to talk about in this show that I think is bringing up a lot of heat, right? And that is the word virgins. So this is not necessarily like a little like a messiah thing, right? Okay, so the virgins that they talk about a is not a entity born of the force without father, right? That is not a virgins thing. It is not as the word virgins is not talking about the twins not having a father, or Anakin not having a father, right? That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about the basically the ability for this place to have spawned life out of nothing, right? And so what should have been a planet of dust and rock is a planet flourishing with life and green and animals and all that stuff. And this is coming from the potential uh energy in the force that is highly concentrated around these two children, let's say, or this coven. And so it's not this thing that it's 85 outside. Oh, kiss my butt, dude. It's like 105 outside here. But yeah, the virgins is not talking about the children so much as proof of a virgins, which is a high concentration of metachlorines in a specific area that is causing life to create. For instance, Yoda's swamp cave, they refer to that as a virgins, right? There's all these places throughout the galaxy that have this high concentration of metachlorines, or this high force and area, and this causes life to grow, much like Dagobah and stuff like that. So that word has sparked a lot of controversy right now in the fandom, because that people are thinking that this has something to do with breaking the Anakin prophecy, and that, oh my God, Anakin was a virgin, and oh my God, and this and that. And it's not so much that they're talking about. They're more the Jedi that are searching with, and I found it really interesting to watch a Wookiee with a metal detector. I don't know if you've ever been on the beach in the summer watching people with metal detectors, but it's really funny. And the fact that there was an 8-foot tall Wookiee doing it was even better. Yeah, and then the Jedi cataloged it as lifeless, and then it's strong in the Force. Yeah. Again, there's so much. Yeah. Okay, Stanley. Thank you. The Virgins is a planet or location on the planet, a whole or yellow tree which is used to make the twins. Anakin's virgins, hence is why he's a chosen one. Look, again, this is a word that's got a lot of heat behind it. The word virgins has this idea of like a messiah, right? The chosen one, the born without father. I think it would be more interesting if there was a virgins in the forest that just created a baby without a mother. I think that would be more interesting as a virgins to me. But Anakin is unique in the forest, yada yada yada. But I thought this was an interesting way to talk about this. This was an interesting the way that the episode panned out, in that the Padawan was so homesick and so ready to go home that he's like, oh, I found proof. We got to steal those kids. I'm out of here. Yeah, it's virgins, not virgins. So look, there's again, we're gonna find out how the kids how the kids were born. Are we gonna find out all of this stuff? I honestly don't know. I'm honestly keeping my expectations low as always, because these shows have an interesting way of rope-a-doping us, especially when all the scenes from all the trailers have been seen, so we don't know what's coming. There's no like, oh my god, we haven't seen this one scene yet. It's pretty much all been seen, if I remember. Um, I mean, look, that's the thing is could could this be a further story into Tenebris, into Plagueis, into Palpatine? Does this story get illustrations down that road? I think it could be a cool lead into a Plagueis redoing of the Plagueis novel, live action of the Plagueis novel. But again, I think let's just finish the story strong first, and hopefully they do. Hopefully Leslie doesn't fumble on the 5-yard line. You know what I mean? Hopefully it's not a goal line fumble, because if she can finish this story strong, if they as this group can finish this story strong and get everybody interested in the finale, uh I mean, I really don't want it to be a one and done. I really think if they put this, what would be a great finale, and uh what would be a great finale would be a Darth Smiley on Soul fight that potentially could end in the death of one of the twins. And then the Jedi show up and they just see a dead twin and Soul, and the other two escape. And then we have the Jedi killing Soul, blaming it all on Soul, and then Smiley and Osha get away, and the true master we'll see in the darkness or something as they skirt away, right? But ultimately that would be the most fun for me, is to see them put this whole thing on Soul, because then it gets us to the point where, oh, it wasn't a Sith, it was a Jedi gone rogue. Oh my god. It would get us to the point where a Jedi's gone rogue instead of a Sith, and that keeps continuity to the Senate, to the High Council leading forward. And then season 2 could be more of the intro into potentially Tenebra, Plagueis, Palpatine, so on and so forth. So there's a lot. In my opinion, that would be the best way to sum it up. And I think this show is a lot about fan service. The Acolyte as a whole, I feel, is a lot of fan service. There's a lot of stuff that we've all been clamoring for that we got, that we should be appreciative of. We shouldn't be clickbaiting this BS that we don't like the show, or that Rotten Tomatoes, that, whatever, it's getting this score. How about just getting out there and enjoying the show instead of breaking it down so they do more? Again, I know Disney Star Wars is not the popular thing amongst a mass of people, but to me, it's pretty awesome. I'm really digging what we're getting here. Um, I think it's going to be a great finale, and I'm excited for it. I hope it does some justice to the show. Keeping some continuity would be great, and then getting into an end credit scene, or a final scene where we see the face of the true master, and that'll lead us into next season, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really interested in that 2 souls in 1 body thing. I feel like that's kind of a reach. Yeah, I think Soul could sacrifice himself. I think there's a lot of opportunity here to tell some stories. I think they got to finish strong. I think they got to show us Master Corrin, or I'm sorry, Corrin and Mother Anastasia, and how they conceive these children. Um, Maybe with the help of the Sith, maybe with the help of Smiley or his master. I don't really know, but I'm interested to see how they wrap this up. I hope we get that ending. I hope we get a Smiley backstory. I hope we find out who the real master puppet stringing I hope the puppet string master gets revealed at the end. There's so many things I hope that they show us by the end of this show. I hope it's an hour and a half finale. That would be a real treat. And I can't think of anything else that I'm really fishing for in this episode. The last two to me were fun. The lightsaber scenes were both a lot of fun. Watching the behind the scenes choreography with the actors again is just another illustration of the dedication that these actors have. And I'm excited for more. I wish that Jackie hadn't died. I hope that Smiley doesn't die. I don't think he will. I think it would be foolish to kill that character at this point in the series. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. Any thoughts from the peanut gallery? I will go ahead and take those now. The other thing that I do want to say is do us a favor, tell your friends, everybody, we are trying to get some watch hours up this month so we can get to the finish line, get this channel monetized so we can do more helping out in the world. We can send you guys some stuff, we can do more giveaways, that kind of thing, you know what I mean? So yeah, get back, watch some of the old streams, check out some of the stuff. We're going to keep trying to make some shorts out of some of these lives. We're also going to do some videos. I have I've got a pretty sweet take on Sabine Wren that I'm trying to gather and muster the energy to record a video and edit a video for. But I've got a really hot take on Sabine Wren, and I'm looking forward to. I'll probably end up working on that. I wanted to get through Acolyte first before I went into another subject. So we're gonna finish Acolyte strong. We won't be streaming tomorrow night, but maybe on Wednesday night, I might try to get the band together and do a post-mortem of Acolyte as a whole, give everybody a full day to watch it as a full watch party and get caught up. And then maybe Wednesday or Thursday, we'll try to get the band together and get a full panel together to see how everybody feels about it. But ultimately, like I said, unless they drop the ball at the finish line right now, I'm really digging it. I'm really digging what we got going on. I'm really digging everything that I'm seeing. And yeah, yeah, we can do one last thing. Everybody, throw it in the chat, put in the comment section. What do you think of the show so far? You do a 1 to 10, right? 1 to 10. Everybody put 1 to 10 in the chat. What you think of the show so far as a whole. I don't really need your episode by episode breakdown unless you want to give it to me, in which case I'll take it and I'll listen to it. Aside from that, there's some new merch that I'm working on. There's some new art that I'm working on. Oh, what else are we working on? Let's see. What else are we working on? What else are we working on? We're working on what else are we working on this month? Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're trying to get the monetization finished so that we can like I said, do more giveaways, get ready for the skeleton crew, all that kind of stuff. With hunters, I have enjoyed playing. So if there's more people that want to play, maybe we'll do a giveaway. Maybe we'll do another DS giveaway or like a gift card to buy some stuff. But there's some more merch that we're working on. There's some more stories we're working on. Yeah, there's a lot going on, man. I honestly have enjoyed I've enjoyed the Acolyte. I've enjoyed everything that they're giving us right now, and I can't really complain. I could, but I try not to. And yeah, we're just having a good time, man. So I can't think of anything else I want to cover tonight. I know a bunch of the guys are busy on Mondays, but I have to cover this one last time. If you're talking about the music, then yeah, bro. If you watched again, go check out, if you haven't, go check out Chad the Bird has a great take on the jizz and the jizz in Star Wars. So do yourself a favor, go check that out. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that I want to cover tonight. I just wanted to put it out there. Again, everybody, I say this all the time. I think everybody thinks I'm being a little facetious, but ultimately, do yourself a favor. Obviously spade and neuter your pets, help control the pet population. Also, be kind to your fellow man. It's a weird time in the world, and I think it's the best time to try to be kind to your fellow man. Also, don't forget to tell your loved ones how you feel today. You never know what tomorrow brings. You could be here and they couldn't. You could not be here and they could. So do yourself a favor. Love your pets. Take care of yourself. The world's a crazy place right now. We want you all around. Again, this is the place for positivity. We are the lighthouse on the hill, guiding everybody that wants to be positive about Star Wars to the light. So please continue to come by, check out all the old watches. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We might do some gaming this week if I can muster some energy to come up in the studio during these hot summer days. But the dog days of summer are here, so the studios get a little warm. So I don't know, maybe we'll do some daytime gaming. Like I said, there's a lot of things going on, and tomorrow's going to be a fun day. So don't forget, get out there, have a good time, enjoy Star Wars, because it is here for us to enjoy, not for us to tear down. And let's try to keep it up. So with that, I bid you all a good day. Thank you very much for everybody that comes by and says hello and sticks around and enjoys the spirit of debate. But ultimately, this is a place, this is the beacon, this is the lighthouse in the dark sea of Star Wars. So we want to keep it positive. So thank you for being here as always. And we'll see you later in the week. Have a good night. Enjoy tomorrow. Enjoy the Acolyte. Peace.